And another reminder, there will be a workshop by Ndoye on February 3rd. More details about that to come as we get closer to it. All right, today we are still in January, and we are talking about artists who either give hope or joy in their creativity, because January is that season when we're all filled with anticipation and joy for the coming new year. And I can think of no other artist who represents joyfulness better than our artist today. His name is Marc Chagall. I am going to share the screen with an image of his work and talk briefly about his very interesting life and work. But we are already running out of time, so I'm not going to spend as much time on our lecture as we normally do. I'm going to start by saying this is not one of my favorite Chagall paintings. This Chagall painting is entitled The Green Violinist. I've chosen to put it up because it's one of the first paintings most people think about when they think Chagall. And why? There's a myth about this painting. Many people believe that this is the painting, this is the work of art that inspired the musical, the famous musical called Fiddler on the Roof. And if you look at the feet of this violinist or fiddler, you will see that they are resting on the rooftops of two buildings. If you see down here at the bottom of the painting. Now, no one knows for sure if this actually inspired the writers, the creators of Fiddler on the Roof. We do know that the people who designed the sets for the original Fiddler musical looked at Chagall's paintings for inspiration.
Yeah.
There are a lot of folk tales, Jewish folk tales, that talk about fiddlers. Fiddlers were important in Jewish Eastern European life and lifestyle. So whether or not Chagall's painting is the direct inspiration for the musical on Broadway, we will never know. Who was he? He was born Moshe Chagall, Shagal, on July 6, 1887, in a small Russian village near Vitebsk in the Russian Empire. And he died in France in 1985 at the advanced age of 97. He was a Jewish French artist. Even though he was born in Russia, he spent many years living in France and most identified with French culture. His Jewishness, however, was paramount to his identity and his work. Chagall, more than any other modern European artist, refers back to his Jewish heritage in almost, if not all, of his work. When you look at the imagery in his paintings, sculpture, stained glass art, and prints, 9 times out of 10, you will see references to either his Jewish heritage, his childhood growing up in this Jewish village, or Jewish folk tales. So he's kind of unique in that respect. Not that there weren't a lot of Jewish European artists. Chagall is the most famous modern European artist of Jewish heritage. He was an early modernist. He was a king of color, to the point where Picasso said, when Matisse dies, Chagall will be the only true colorist we have left. That's a pretty extraordinary thing to say about an artist. And Chagall was associated with several major artistic styles, including Fauvism. Those of you who are veteran students of mine may remember that Fauvism was a period of art history when artists experimented with wild, crazy color. And just looking at this green violinist, you can see where the Fauvist influence was quite powerful for him. The violinist is in fact green. So you know this image is not real. It is fantasy. It is from Chagall's imagination. I suppose it could be a violinist who ate something that did not sit well with his stomach and it made him turn green, but probably not. This is Chagall, an artist who crazy loved color. So he's associated with the Fauvist movement, father of which was Matisse, if you recall to other lectures that we've had. He also was a part of the Cubist movement, and this painting is also wonderful in that respect because it shows some of the angularity and geometry that you're familiar with when you look at Cubist work. And finally, Surrealism. So Surrealism was the movement in art where artists relied on their dreams and symbolic imagery. And when I think of Chagall, Surrealism is the philosophy of art that I most closely associate with his work. Because so much of what Chagall does stems from dreams that he's had, memories that he's had from his childhood. For decades, he's been respected as the world's preeminent Jewish artist. He's used all kinds of medium, including stained glass. And boy, he really understands what color is. He was the eldest of 9 children. His family struggled financially while he was growing up. And here's a quote from Chagall that he wrote as a boy. I felt at every step that I was a Jew. People made me feel it. The street lamps, this is during a pogrom, Chagall wrote this. And pogroms were a period of time in history when Jews were being persecuted by the Russian police, and they were chased from their homes and literally tortured and sometimes killed. And Chagall says during a pogrom, the street lamps are out. I feel panicky, especially in front of butchers' windows. There you can see calves that are still alive lying beside the butcher's hatchets and knives. These are some of the images that he refers to and thinks about when he does his paintings. There was a period in his life when he denied his Jewishness. It enabled him to survive much persecution, and it also enabled him to escape Russia. And from Russia, he went to France. He lived on and off in France throughout his life and associated with many famous artists. During World War II, he escaped to the United States and lived in New York City. And that's where he became internationally well known. He never felt at home in New York, however. And following World War II, he and his new wife moved back to France. And that's where he died in 1985. He always felt as if France was his homeland. I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. Those of you who love Chagall, which I've heard many of you say in your introductions earlier before we started taping, I invite you to do further research and study. He had kind of a harrowing life. He survived World War I and World War II. He survived the pogroms in Russia, and he was kind of peripatetic. He did not live in one place for very long until really the end of his life. And he made friends with great poets as well as great visual artists throughout his life. And he inspired writers, musicians, and other artists. All right. Anyone else have more to share about his life or work? Oh, a bit about his education. He did go to art schools. He went to art school in Russia. He lied. He had to lie about being Jewish because Jewish people could not go to school at the time that he was growing up in Russia. So he lied about being Jewish, and he did go to art school in Moscow for a while, and he got some training there. When he arrived in Paris later in life, he also enrolled in art school. So he was a trained artist, although he was greatly influenced, as I mentioned before, by Jewish folk art, and he preferred working in this, for lack of a better term, folk art tradition, and not the academic training that he had received in art school. So some of his work does kind of look like it comes from a self-taught artist, but he was in fact an educated man. Does anybody else have thoughts or information? Jane, go ahead. I'm going to change the picture while Jane is talking.
So I know the online. So there are enormous
yes,
that really kind of like to represent so well. They're so enormous, so many ways. They're 30 by 50 feet. And I was just reading that in 2020, when that opera, which had to close their season, they were bolstered by the fact that they still own these Chagalls, and it has become part of their underpinning financially in order to keep going, because they're so valuable. And there's a photograph online of Chagall posing with the painting in 1966 on the Chagall.
very nice. Yes, the Metropolitan Museum Opera House, the Metropolitan Opera, sorry, in New York City has some gorgeous paintings by Chagall, and you can go look at them. You don't have to go hear the opera, but you can go see them. They are right here in New York City, and I recommend it highly. So thank you, Jane, for that information. And that is a really good point to make. Chagall's, the actual works of art, are very valuable. They are priceless works of art today. And Chagall is probably, his work goes for some of the highest prices of any artist known today. So I don't know the title of this Chagall painting, but this is, for me, one of the greatest Chagall paintings ever. For
This is one
me,
of my favorite.
do you know the title, Lauren?
I think it's Eye of the City or Eyes of the City, something like that.
Okay, well, that makes sense because of the way the animal and the person are making eye contact so intense.
I'll look it up.
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
This really shows the versatility and the variety of Chagall's approach. You can see the influence of Cubism in his work. Look at all the triangles, the circles, the hard edges that are present, rectangles and squares. Very cubist in the layout and composition of the work. You can see the fauvist colors, the magical thinking, what I call magical thinking, unrealistic colors in the green face of this person and the blue in, I think this is a cow, it could be a lamb, but in this animal's head. And then finally, the surrealistic, dreamlike imagery that he has focused on in this painting. That, as always for Chagall, is the main focus of his work. The person holding this absolutely gorgeous image of a tree down here. You won't see that in real life. The picture of the two people at the top seemingly floating in space. They are not walking on any visible ground. So where are they? That creates a dreamlike quality. The fact that the woman is upside down adds a dream feeling to the image as well. Then the animal inside the animal with the woman milking the cow. All of this is fantastical and amazing. So this painting for me encapsulates and really shows all the virtuosity of Chagall's talents. And I crazy love it. I love the way he juxtaposes our primary colors. Remember, red, blue, and yellow. So powerfully with their secondary complements, red with green. Let's see, do we have orange with blue? A little bit down here. And there's probably violet with yellow somewhere in this image. I like the way he creates depth of field, even though there's really no foreground and background. He's created depth in this composition by adding these rich darks behind the tree and in the sky, what I assume is the sky back here. I love these upside down buildings. Everything is topsy-turvy in Chagall land. All right, anyone have a negative reaction to this painting? Anybody not like Chagall's work? I would love to hear from you. Why not?
Yeah, Robin over here. I find it disturbing, and
Okay,
though I appreciate it for what it is and his life and everything that he's bringing to his painting, it's disturbing to me. And Picasso was disturbing to me as well. So it's a dual thing of appreciation and learning from the colors and shapes and so forth, but still, I wouldn't want to look at this.
can you put your finger on what it is that creeps you out? Is it the angular shapes, the colors?
It's the expression on the face. There's something dark. There's something, it feels like something is going on that is not well intended, or there's, some kind of weirdness, conflict. I don't know how to say it. Sorry. But it's just,
Sometimes you can't articulate what it is about art. But
yeah, but and I think it says a lot, and it's good. I appreciate the art because it's expressing something very strongly, but it's it's a kind of tortured feeling I get from it.
you are not the only one who's felt that way about Chagall's work. And when you consider the history of his life,
Yeah,
it makes sense.
absolutely. Okay.
All right, let's look at one or two more pictures, and then I'm looking at the time. We need to get started on our own work.
Excuse me, Liz. Sorry. The piece is called Eye on the Village.
Eye on the Village. Wow, you have a great memory, Lauren.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, I want to show you. Chagall was deeply in love with his first wife. Didn't really happen for the poor man on the second marriage. I mean, they came to an understanding, but his first wife, Bella, was truly the love of his life. And he painted her and them together frequently. Maybe you'll get a better feeling from this image, Robin. I hope so. Because our theme for today is hope and joy. Yikes. Okay, unfortunately, I would love to enlarge this, but is that okay? It's very fuzzy for me on the small screen. So here, this is a self-portrait plus a portrait. This is Chagall with his wife. Again, complete fantasy dream imagery. And he often painted her floating in the sky. What does it mean? Why is she the one flying?
She's an angel?
Maybe she's an angel. It could be after she died, this painting. I'm not sure the date of this piece. She lived a pretty good long life. But good guess, Rose. Have you ever personally had a dream in which you're flying? How does it feel? What? Wild. Oh, if you're in a plane and it crashes, it's not a dream, it's a night. I love dreams in which I fly. I always feel good. I mean, maybe this is what Chagall is trying to convey, is the sense of freedom
Right.
that one could get from flying. The fact that birds can fly, people frequently admire birds for their ability to fly and escape the confines of gravity, I don't know. And I wish we had the actual painting in front of us, because the colors in the white sky are so extraordinarily beautiful, but this digital image is not really conveying it. The colors are very subtle and pale, but this background is not white. All right, let's look at one more picture, and then I'm going to give us our assignment for today. Where did I put our folder? Just open it again. I want to give you a sense of the kind of color he could use too, because he definitely was a colorist, like Picasso said. You could see how he learned from Matisse. This image to me really reminds me of Matisse. And he never, even with all the training and schooling he had and all the worldwide travel he had, he never gave up these childhood memories or images. He always came back to doing these things that he remembered from his dreams and his childhood. Rose.
First painting, I don't know much about it, but it's there you have a green man thinking, staring at a
Right, the lamb or cow.
conjuring that up again, you know, and whatever else is going on around.
Yes, I believe that's exactly what he was doing. Yes, I agree. His imagery is all about memories from his childhood and things that he went through, plus folk tales from his childhood and his culture. Yes, so I don't know if you all heard Susan, but he did have a very religious upbringing. His parents were Hasidic Jews, and they would tell a lot of the Jewish folk tales to him as he was growing up. And he, of course, remembered those stories. As an adult, he was a non-observant Jew, but he identified his entire life as a Jew. And you can see it in the imagery that he uses in his work. All right, so are you ready? Tired of listening to Liz, right? So here's the assignment for today. And those of you who were at the multi-service center yesterday, I lied. We will not be having Bill today, so forgive me. If you need to draw from life, I'm happy to pose for you. But what our assignment is for today is to use your memory. Think about strong images from your childhood and create, I would prefer a painting, but if you would like to do a drawing, create a picture that speaks to that strong memory from your childhood and paint it. I'm going to do a quick demo of watercolor techniques. So those of you who never used watercolor before, or those of you who need a refresher in how to use watercolor paint, we will situate the camera so you can watch me. Those of you who are here, all the materials are laid out for you at the back. There is watercolor paper today, so please do use it. There's enough for everyone to use. I recommend, you do not have to, but I recommend that everyone at home or in class that you sketch lightly in pencil first and then do the painting work. If I'm not available to pose when you want to work from life, and you brought your sketches from another class, you could refer back to old sketches if you need figurative imagery in your painting today. And if you have them at home, obviously you can refer back. Or if you have photographs, I did send an email out about this class and I recommended that you bring photographs, childhood photographs, or you might have stuff on your phone that you could use for this assignment. Any questions? Right, we're going to take a couple of minutes to get set up and let's begin. Create, create, create. Art rocks. And remember, we're stopping at 12 today. It is a hard stop at 12 noon. Oh, Lord.
Spring like day. Oh, it's crazy. And I did this because I was like, they would never do that. I know, I'm a next person too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That is because they were, right? Still do. Okay. It's like, although it's watercolor. Are you gonna use watercolor today? Yeah, then I would use the hard one. Make the lightest one. That's what we say, so I forgot to see, sun. Yeah. I believe so. I always forget myself. If you're having problems with this, distraction, let me tell the folks at home. Have to say that. Folks at home, if you're struggling with the childhood memory idea, go for abstraction, okay? You all heard me, I hope. Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Oh, Vanessa, welcome.
Hey, Liz.
Oh, and Liz, you have to leave early. Too bad. Well, I hope you can come back. I see it. It says thank you. You're welcome, Vanessa. I don't know for what. What? No, Vanessa just came.
Oh, the Hoboken Library said welcome, Vanessa, but it was a direct message and then I responded to everybody. Sorry.
Right, all right, don't worry. All right, so I'm setting up to do the demo. There's one thing from your childhood that you one object or that object.
Okay, so
bigger brushes. Back to smaller brushes. Sally, look. It's also the box. Alright, so those of you who want to watch, come up and watch. Those of you at home, if you need to watch me, I'm about to start the day. So, for starters, our wonderful student Penny just asked me a really good question. Teaching is, I remember and learning from my students as I teach. Penny said, what kind of pencil is best for watercolor? I said, and I forgot to tell everybody, I said, the harder pencil, the better. You want to use a pencil that leaves a little mark as possible. Really don't want the mark to show when you're working on watercolor, because watercolor is pretty much transparent. Other thing, I'm using watercolor paper.
I'm having trouble hearing.
Design. People are having trouble hearing. Watercolor paper is specially designed to absorb and retain. And you know it's watercolor paper because it has what's called a tube. It's textured and heavier in weight. And then a recap about pencil. When you are sketching your design for watercolor work, you want to use a hard pencil because you want to leave as little mark with the pencil as possible. Because watercolor is transparent. Everybody heard that? Yeah. Okay, good. Now, when I create a painting, I first of all like to establish the frame, area in which I'm going to work. You have to do that? No. But I like to do that. It makes me feel a little bit more secure. When I think about my childhood, the first thing that comes to my mind is my childhood doll, Hazel. So she's gonna play a prominent role in my painting.
Let's see.
I am just sketching lightly in pencil. Remember, I want to be very little mark. Just working out the composition of my painting.
something over here in the corner. I'm not sure what. I'm gonna leave that out. It's a little skirt. Base. A little bit of pencil to indicate where things are gonna go. All right. Watercolor paint is water-based. So there are a multiple techniques used. And they're all different size brushes. 1 second, I thought I had a small brush. But this is huge. So brushes come in multiple sizes and shapes, large obviously, medium size, and tiny. Some are square shaped and some are rounded. I like to use the really big brushes first, and I like to wet my paper. I am creating what watercolor artists call a wash. Washes are just wet, very wet layers of color to build up my composition and show or indicate where things are going to sit on the page. I'm not even going to worry too much about what colors I'm using. I'm just dropping, call it dropping, or adding a little bit of color to the image. Very free and very loose. And very wet. I'm allowing the paint to flow where it wants to go. Another nice thing about watercolor paper is it dries pretty fast. You want to keep handy. You want to keep handy paper towel. And your paper towel when you're doing watercolors. Paper towel comes in handy for blotting and also for creating different textures. When I am doing smaller shapes, I can use a smaller brush. And when I want darker, intense colors, I'm not going to wet the paper first. But I will wet my brush and I will use less water and more paint to get darker, more intense color. I personally don't like to use color straight from the box. I like to mix because I get color closer to the natural color. So I not wet the paper at all. This area of the painting. I just wet my brush. And add a paint. This way, I can get color that's darker and more intense. Still not deeply dark, but it's darker. Another thing you can do with watercolor paint is blend. Just a little bit of water, spread, and blend your color. So watercolor is primarily smooth and flat, although you can do interesting textural things. With something like paper towel, you can stamp and remove color, make very nice textural effects. You can take your tiny fine point brushes and add very tight pencil. Very little water and a lot of ink. Load your brush. It's called loading your brush. You can load your brush and do a lot of fine detail. Hazel and curly hair. And about how to hold your brushes. When you're doing the wash, don't grip the brush down in the silver thingy. I forgot what it's called. You want to hold the brush further up in the handle area and let the water just flow. But when you're doing the close detail work, rest your fingers around the silver part closer to the bristles of the brush. That way you can rest your pinky on the paper and you have greater control and more ability to guide where the color is going to go. And finally, you can do a technique called dry brush. Dry brush is when you have hardly any water on the brush at all. You go directly to the paint and stroke. This brush really has too much water on it for the dry brush. Popping some of that up. You can stroke with the brush and get interesting texture. That's the dry brush. Good for doing fuzzy areas. Once these layers start to dry, you can come back and add more color. And go wild with the color like our artist Chagall. The real key is not bright color, use more paint and less water. Any questions? I'll look in the chat box, see if those of you at home have any questions. It's quite simple and basic. Watercolors can be intimidating to folks. If you're nervous about it, I recommend you have a test piece of paper and test things out on the test piece before you actually work on your finished project. Do not mix on your painting. Always have a palette handy for mixing. And we're done today. So I'm going to check the chat box first, see if folks are running into difficulties, and then I'm going to start walking around to see how folks here are doing. I am going to put a picture on. Good idea from Laura. That's another option. If you want to copy a Chagall painting, that's a great way to learn. I forgot to mention that as an option. Forgive me. In any of these classes, if you have a favorite painting by a particular artist and you want to copy it, please do so. There is nothing wrong with copying in the world of art. It's the way artists learn from each other. Just don't try and sell it with your name on it. That won't work. All right, everyone at home, are you able to see? This is a really gorgeous Chagall. And you can see in this portrait here on the bottom right, you can see how sophisticated it is and how he did receive pretty extensive artistic training. He just chose not to follow the rules in his own work. All right, anyone at home? I'm looking. Oops, I did something weird. What did I do, Laura? I click on that. Oh, this one. Yep. I don't know what I did. What the heck is this? That's stupid. Here, let's stop the share and I'll reopen it. There it is, but now I know this is not shared now. No, but it wasn't in share mode. Now we got it. Oh, it's in two different places. Okay, everybody at home, you're copacetic? Looking good? Robin's waving. Dina's deep in. Lauren. What time is it? Oh, we still have some good solid amount of time left. I trip and fall in my cord. Does anybody here need me to talk? You did not have to work in color. Beauty, yes. Beautiful color. Keep going. What's the composition? I like the way you arrange your shapes. They look too happy on it, but it's more like a spring. Oh, 24. It's back in the story. Yeah. It's not happening. That's why it's too much fun. Don't work while she's sitting there. Don't rush her. Oh, that's actually yeah, moisture. Oh, there, Alice. Yes, I'm good as your record. Yeah. Oh, right. The water pumps are right there. And this is, oh, wonderful. Down there, it's so many that's good. Love it. It's a real. Yeah, you put this is so hard. Not fast, go. Okay. This is how many persons, you know? Okay. This is really nice. That's fun. Really gorgeous. Why are you looking so on? Great colors. There. You use this brush to do this. Love it. Yeah. There we go. You can separate the bristles on the brush to create texture as well. Very. You and me. My husband and the brush. I got really what do you think? From the ground. I felt good about like that. And after my and I got what? And that is the right thing. Oh, it's usually. Did that work? Yeah. But I mean, they could have been. No, it's like a French. So, I mean, yeah. No, it looks like a Chagall. It's doing great. You're doing great, and you want to get those real fine too. But you know what I'm saying? Actually, do that. Use the uniball. Great. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh. Anybody else? Yeah. Did you keep your notes? I'm trying to get around it. They never really Nice. Okay, folks at home, are we happy? Happy, happy, happy? I wish I could be with you. Dina, you need some help? You have a question? Unmute and talk to me. No, you're good?
I'm good, thanks.
I didn't hear you. You're okay? Okay.
I'm okay.
Anybody want to share what they're doing at this point, or you're still in the beginnings?
I'm in the beginning, but I want to share with you, Liz.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Can you see me?
I gotta spotlight you. Oh, I can't do it with the share on. Wait, gotta stop the share. Okay. Cool. Tell us about this image.
This is a recurring dream I have had since I am 5 years old on Hudson Street, looking over the Hudson River.
Nice.
An American Indian in very, if I said that politically incorrect, I'm sorry, had Native American with very colorful headdress has been giving me presents since I'm 5 years old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to draw.
Wow. I wish I could interpret that for you. I love it so much.
Well,
Okay,
as I-
so here's
I can
my
never figure out
visual
what
advice.
it has to do with the earth.
Oh, okay, cool. Here's some visual advice, and I know you're just beginning, so you probably have thought of this already, but don't forget the background. So everybody listen to
Glad
this.
you said that.
So often we start with the small objects and we neglect the background. But the background, if you noticed in Chagall's work, he always used it. He always filled it in, so don't forget it. It's difficult to see the smaller objects if they are gobbled up by large amounts of empty white space.
Yes, I agree.
All right, keep working. I can't wait to see your progress.
Thank you, Liz.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you have this opportunity.
Me too.
Right, anyone else at home ready to share? Otherwise, I'll put the picture back up.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna share the screen
Okay.
again. Let's try.
So Liz, I thought it said something in your email about crayon resist. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you.
All right, I'm gonna do another demo, Lizzie, so sorry. I forgot about that. So can we do another quick demo, Laura? Oh, not a problem.
So I never really work in color. So as opposed to the image, I was trying to get down color.
And,
So this is just,
oh, wait, okay.
so this is the crayon part. Because I Googled to see what does this even mean, crayon resist. So this is the crayon part.
Brilliant. You do the color drawing first.
And then I didn't know what to do next.
Okay,
Or
so
do you still do
I'm gonna
it?
show exactly what you do next. But
All
you've started beautifully. So sorry about that.
That's all right.
Read my own email. Sally, and you guys can read my email. That's up to you. There's a crayon. Does somebody have crayons?
They're there. Look, they're there.
Oh, okay.
At first I thought I was gonna.
I'm just gonna take a few, Dan.
Just thinking about it. I thought I was gonna use it.
Oh, you're not using them at all?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna use it, but then I found water.
Oh. Um. I'm gonna show crayon resistance. I showed it yesterday. Don't know. Let me get it. Hi. Alex, wants to watch the technique for crayon resist. And those of you at home, you can look up and down and watch. Yeah, no, no. Alright, everyone at home, I think you can see now, the crayon resist is a wonderful technique. And it's exactly like that. Any of you know anything about fabric? Crayons are made of wax. Watercolor is water-based. Whenever you have wax, it will not mix with water. So if you draw first crayon, draw Lizzie's great drawing of a fish, that's a fish. Inspired me, I'm to a fish. First crayon. From any color to sun. Scale with multiple colors if you want. You want to press relatively hard. Crayon. You can even use white. In fact, white is plastic. You can't see it initially. Obviously, white on white paper then show up. Want to press hard with crayon. Make your line heavy, dark. I'm not going to draw anymore because I don't take you away from your work. But watch what happens when I introduce paint. Maybe some of you have a hypothesis. Remember I said it's a lot like like that. Ever done wax with teeth? First you apply wax to the fabric. Dye. Why do you do that? Because ever wax paint can't stick. That is why it's called resist. Again, any colors under the sun. Look how fantastic the white crayon is. Look at that, it's there. Any of you might have children, young children in your house, grandchildren, or your own children. This is such a fabulous project to do with kids. Very simply, it works like the wax, pushing the water away. So that's a very quick demo on crayon resist. So if you have questions, you can yell out, Liz, what the heck did you do? I'll be happy to meet. So sorry, Lindsay, I'm so glad you asked. But I completely forgot that I was going to show it.
Thank you.
And some of the students I had yesterday are here today. If you have not started with crayon, you can always add it at this stage. Or you can do it at another later date. It's all good. Yeah, any definition you've done in that really makes this come alive. So, because it was the Brahmin. Yeah. It's so funny. It's on the phone. I think awesome, awesome, awesome. Everybody at home looks like they're doing well. Let me put that picture back up. Some of you were working from that painting. I think it's still open. Yes. And what time is it? Yeah, so we have a solid 10, 15 minutes. I'm actually going to opt out of sharing today because we started late. You can always send me emails. Those of you who are new students, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box, although the chat box is not coming up for me. right at the moment. Always a challenge when it's sharing. I'm going to stop the share for a moment so I can give you my email address. I'm going to put it in the chat box. So if you want to send me JPEGs of your work, please do, and I will be happy to offer advice online. And now I'm going to put the picture back up. I want to stand up and step back and look at this moment of this. This is overwhelming. Yeah, this. My favorite thing. Right. I'm not sure. I mean, it always weighs something that. And then kind of like, yeah, I agree. But I would stand back and look at it from a distance, really, because you're so close that you can't really see it. Got it. I don't really expect. Yeah. Why are you going to media? Right, yeah. Suggestion. Once this is done, maybe we can use the video. Yeah. Oh, okay. My eye on the then either. Use that. Love is Alice and this. You told me in your instruction. Well, they're lucky it's not being flooded. She thinks Florida, you know, she was bad for the people who are being. And of course, it's not any near. They don't, this work is all. All possible. They happen in the dry period, they have to start figuring out. Here in the 316th day of hardly any snow. That was terminology. It was considered a drought. Yes, it will be. And that color. This one Life is dry. Yeah. And you and involved. Some kind of fine for Martha. Details. No more things. Mine. Oh, okay. Okay. I love it the way it is. You're the artist. I don't know. Just rummaging.
And, comment. And when it came up, it, I read, I turned it to different houses and it's where my dad had a friend, which was the thing. It was kind of like a yearly event. You know, until we go. The pool that is there is based on an original song that they wrote. It is mostly about, well, I don't want to know if it's Christmas, but it's more like they should describe it or I kind of a little bit well, if you read it, the Christmas was never about Jesus. Yes, it is. I have three of them. I have two and a half. Well, three of the one that I think is sweet. But I'll say that I do have to from my father.
Okay.
I do have a brother that still lives here and my sister with never been with me.
I would, my suggestion. I want. Yes. And I grandmother, very, very, she was strong. Oh, I'm sorry, Penny. I'm fascinated by all this. Oh, well, fire him. All right, guys, sorry. We do have to start cleaning up. Folks at home, you good? We're not going to share today because we have a hard stop at noon. Please send me JPEGs. It does appear as if some of you have left. I hope not because you felt neglected. Oh,
No worries.
checking the chat here. Liz did tell me she had to leave early.
Liz is a popular name, huh?
Well, there are three of us today,
I
Lizzie.
know. That's why I go by Lizzie, because I work with somebody else that's also Liz.
I love the name Lizzie, but I only let my nearest and dearest call me Lizzie.
Oh. Well, I grew up as Beth.
Oh, yeah, no one can call me Beth or
No,
Betty
that
or
was too
Betsy.
countrified.
I don't like any of those names. Or Libby or
Oh,
Libby.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Betty is even worse.
Yeah. All right, so folks at home, start finishing up. Folks here, you must stop. Oh, sorry. My email is crunchart, and those of you at home, I did put it in the chat box, but I'm going to spell it out loud for the folks here. C-O-N as in Nancy, C-H as in Harry, A-R-T as in Thomas, at AOL.com. Oh, I just realized the whole world now has my email address. Oh, well. No, it's on YouTube. All right. So, folks at home, I am going to wish you all a wonderful week. No, next week is not the last class in January, right? Aren't there 5 Wednesdays? Let's double check. So next week is the last week in January. I look forward to working with all of you. And I will see you soon. Art on. It's going to be a gorgeous weekend. I think it's supposed to warm up. Tomorrow's supposed to rain, but I think I heard good news about the weekend. Check out museums if you can, or look in art books for inspiration. And do send me JPEGs of your work. I mean it.